Happy Easter. It is Audio Mullet, the Easter edition. It's a great day. I have my buddies here. Michael J. Nelson.
Hey, hallelujah, he is risen.
And the amazing Ethan Nicole. He is risen.
He is risen indeed.
Yes.
Indeed. I like how we all turn into like we're wearing monocles.
Mollusks.
He is risen. And you go, indeed.
Indeed. Oh, I know,
He is he's risen indeed.
He has resurrected. They rolled the stone away. The stone could be rolled away, or it could have rolled itself, but it was rolled.
Insofar as it goes, the stone was rolled. Who's to say who rolled it?
Which reminds me, for breakfast I had rolled oats. Happy
Already
Easter.
Off the rails.
This is our big party. This is a big Christian party, Easter.
Yeah.
It is the biggest party. I remember I was recalling because we were talking about let's do the Easter thing. And the first year that I was a Christian, like in my mid to late 30s, and I went to Easter and I thought it was the greatest party I had ever been to in my life. I was so happy. It was like the greatest frat party in the world, like high-fiving old ladies, like, yeah, it's Easter.
Body slamming them to the ground.
Everybody else had been through this slog before, so they were just like, whatever, we're going to eat some tuna salad later. But I was like, yeah. So yeah, I was like the fat drunk guy at the frat party.
Let's take you down a notch.
Never been there.
Let's take you down a notch. Let's talk about bunnies and eggs and candy.
My wife just raided the store to get whatever Easter stuff she could. But there's no white eggs.
To you as a kid?
Yeah.
The Peeps and everything, did that connect with you?
Oh, marshmallow Peeps. My mom made us baskets that we would hide and find all the way through high school.
All the way through high school, you were seeking for baskets?
I'm a 17-year-old guy looking for a basket in my jammies on Easter morning.
How late did you trick or treat into your teens then? 20s?
I did trick or treat in high school.
Oh, dear.
Mike, I was pagan. I was just like a full Christian pagan.
Ethan, did you have Easter as a kid? Like the Easter of, the secular Easter of baskets of jelly beans?
Yeah, my parents would hide eggs all around the house, all around the yard. But my most
plastic
scarring
eggs or hard-boiled eggs?
Both. I remember. Yeah, both. We do some hard boiled. They'd hide all the ones that we dyed. But my most scarring memory from an Easter morning one year was I'm up ready to go for the Easter egg hunt because they always had them ready in the morning. And my mom goes, "No, hold on, it's not ready yet." And I'm like, wait, what? The Easter bunny's here? And I look out the window and I see my dad in his bathrobe hiding eggs, and the wind blows his bathrobe up, and I see everything. I see it all.
There's where that last egg is.
The Easter mammoth is here.
He's never been known to cinch his bathrobe. He just lets it kind of hang, so.
That is scarring. My most scarring was I was probably, I think, 9, and I went to just play in the playground behind my school, and it was near Easter. And I found a bunch of troves of Easter eggs, like plastic Easter eggs that I just saw in trees. And I started picking them up and going, sweet. And then this teacher came out and said, that is for the kindergartners. What are you doing?
I'm just getting me some free food, ma'am.
I was so embarrassed. I'm like, I don't know. I thought it was for anyone.
Yeah, for a minute, I thought the Easter Bunny was real.
Yeah, Easter Bunny doesn't discriminate. He left me a bunch of eggs. How dare you spoil my dreams, teacher? Thank you, public school teacher.
So then I said, I'll put them back where I think they were. And she just looked at me with such a pity. You're such a stupid, stupid boy.
Well, my worst shameful memory is, so here I am I'm probably in 8th grade. And my mother hid the Easter baskets around, and my old brittle grandmother is sitting on this sun window, and I saw the Easter basket on the windowsill behind her, hidden behind the curtains.
Yeah.
And I crawled up over her legs and grabbed the Easter basket and went down and just started devouring candy. And they're all, oh, look at them. Da, 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 da. Later, I found out I broke her leg.
Oh, my God.
Fact. And she didn't. What? And this is how old school she is. She didn't say anything because she didn't want to spoil. I don't want to spoil Dougie's Easter. What? So she didn't say anything. And later I saw her in a cast. I'm like, how did that happen? Oh, I fell down, Dougie. I broke her leg.
God.
Wait, what? Did I miss the part of this? You somehow going over her leg. How did
I crawled over her legs.
How big were you?
Because they were straightened out. She was infirmed and she was always laying down. And so she was just laying down. And I'm just like some stupid 8th grader going, oh, Easter basket. I'll crawl all over grandma.
Wow.
Jeez.
Brutal.
That is brutal. So you learned about that when?
It was years later.
About it, that is.
Years later.
Oh my gosh. Was she still alive when you learned about it? Were you able to?
Oh yeah. I'm like, Grandma, I'm evil. Oh, Dougie.
Man.
I didn't want to spoil your Easter. I broke my leg. You broke my leg. I didn't want to spoil. That's old school. Today they'd be like, she'd be tweeting about it. My own grandson purposely broke my leg.
She'd be Instagramming her broken her
X-rays.
That's like 80s
shattered femur.
buddy cop movie or something like I got shot. It's only a flesh wound.
It's so our dad's candy. It's so our dad's generation and grandparents' generation though that the no drama thing, just the stoic toughness of this woman was brutalized her whole life. Grandma Tenaple. And she was Pentecostal, she'd watch all the televangelists and go, oh, I'm getting my Jesus this morning.
I've got 3 broken limbs right now, but I'm getting my Jesus.
Oh, this woman was, my dad went home from the Korean War because they thought she was going to die. Like she was all deformed. They thought she was supposed to be twins and she had like extra sets of organs in her. And she was always like, just pooping in a bag, and just broken toes and legs and just a wreck physically a wreck and so full of happiness and faith. Oh, I can't really share the story. It's too embarrassing of her, but she was also like in her youth, like a total drunkard and like,
wow.
Everyone that's my dad's side of the family, Grandma and Grandpa Tenaple. Everyone made out and slept with all their relatives.
What in the world?
Oh, fact. I'm from this is total Okie white trash that I come from.
We got some weird stuff like that in my dad's side too. There's
really?
Total white trash, like weird, like, it gets bizarre.
So they're great people, and they were always the fun side of the family. Like you always wanted to go to Grandma and Grandpa Tenaple's side. And then the other side, my mom's side, was all kind of, they seem to be more culturally aware and sensitive and kind of putting on airs, But none of that on the Tenaple side. It was just...
your story starts with, I accidentally broke my grandma's leg on Easter.
Yeah.
And it ends with, my grandma had extra organs and was sleeping with her cousins.
Yeah.
So I like the trajectory. You're kind of burying the lead here.
My grandpa threatened to murder my brother because...
Okay, now we're getting back to more normal stuff.
Okay, normal stuff. Yeah. It was my upbringing was it was amazingly dramatic and full of amazing characters, like Coen brothers characters was all my dad's side of the family.
I think we all have a little bit of it, right? So my dad, his mom was left the family, and my grandpa was the town drunk. And he was raised by his aunt and had no shoes when he was young. Well, Ethan, when you told me you were a very colorful story.
When you told me you were Irish, I knew he was the town drunk.
No, my dad is Danish. So
what, the Danes?
Yeah, so he married the Irish woman.
Oh, wow.
My mom is Irish.
But he was like preordained to be Irish, to marry an Irish and have your blood because your grandpa was the town drunk.
Yeah. First time I met saw him, he was being tossed out of a bar at 10 in the morning. So that's.
Had he been there all night?
Yeah. Did he start at 9 in the morning, or did he start at 9 o'clock the night before?
No, I think he was throwing pebbles at the window to get in the morning, and then he used to kind of sweep for them to get a beer or whatever. But this time it was like, we're just opening up, and he probably came in and was bugging them. And I saw this wretch out of a car window as we were driving, and my dad said, you haven't met your grandpa yet. There he is. He was actually getting bum-rushed out of a bar.
Thrown out of a bar. Ran him on a rail. Yes. They ran him down the bar first, spilling all the drinks.
Actually doing the coattails and bottom of the pants, like throwing him out of the bar. That's my distinct memory of it. So, yeah, we've all got colorful stuff.
So he wasn't even around for you to break his legs.
No, I couldn't break his damn brittle legs. I bet they would be brittle, right? That much alcohol.
Old people, just like a breadstick.
Bird legs. Yeah.
Breadstick, bird legs.
those thin Italian breadsticks.
Oh, my favorite Grandpa to Naples story. He was in World War II. He was a trucker moving missiles. He'd move missiles around on the back of a flatbed truck. And he was in the Navy. And when the boat got into San Francisco harbor, they were going to, they were in a port for a while, then go back out to war, after they refueled. Yeah. He dove off the ship and swam to shore and went AWOL.
Wow.
Grandpa to Naples. So he was a coward. And then my other grandpa Fred Hale, who was an awesome inventor guy, but a conscientious objector, he went into the forestry service. So he was another coward. So I have like a long line of cowards.
Yeah.
Yet I didn't serve. So, hey, what did I do?
A bunch of brittle-boned cousin sleeping with extra organ having losers. Your whole family.
Mike and Ethan, we don't have these stories anymore in our families. Like, these are old stories from days gone by. They're wonderful. In our families, there's so little drama by comparison.
Yeah, let's step it up, kids. Let's get our kids to step it up, right?
We need more. I hate to say it, but we need more alcohol. Alcohol has to be involved, and less college. There was no college back then. Less college, more alcohol.
Yeah, need a good Great Depression.
Happy Easter, everyone.
He
is risen.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is our Easter episode.
Yeah, happy Easter. Easter's the best effing holiday there is. It puts Christmas to shame.
Oh, Christmas is a brittle-boned cousin compared to Easter. That's pagan. For sure.
And so greedy, Ethan. Think of all the presents you have to get people, and I'm going to get a present or not. Worst thing you get at Easter is just like what plastic egg you're going to open up and what peep are you going to eat.
Do you guys know I have no idea what the origins of the rabbit and the bunny and the eggs and everything. Any
pagan. Clue? It's like a spring festival, spring.
Oh, yeah, because
I think so. Yeah,
everything's having babies and stuff.
Right, yeah. Fabergé eggs around the Eastern Orthodox Church and all of that. Who knows? It's a big mishmash.
The Fabergé eggs. What's your favorite?
Who knows how many other pagan cultures they were kind of grabbing up with that? Like Easter, okay, Easter takes over your stupid egg rolling festival. Now it's an egg rolling festival too. So it probably gobbled up a couple of things.
And once corporations get involved, it's all like roll out the rhesus eggs. Ethan, you appear to be an expert on candy. What's your favorite Easter candy?
I'm one of the rare people that loves me a good peep. I will shove those things in my face.
You have microwaved them, I take it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's
that never gets old. It never gets old. It's fun every Easter. I'm one of the rare people who likes the weird chocolate eggs with the gross fake egg runny
the Cadbury
egg inside.
Cream egg.
I love those.
Yeah,
I love those too.
Okay, so you're okay. I thought I was alone there. I mean, not alone, but it's a rare aficionado. But you guys like those?
Yeah, they give you something to do.
What food does, right? Generally, it gives you something to do.
But it's like you break the little top off and you see the little goo, white goo inside. Then you eat it down to the yellow goo, and it's like it's a goo fun, a goo discovery.
I just like how obsessive they are. Nice.
It's like watching
How many
Alien.
Fake foods do you like foods that look like other foods but aren't? I think that's a rare thing to like them. Like, this looks like a piece of fish, but it's chocolate. You'd go, why are you doing that? But with eggs, you go like, sounds good. Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Of all the things to make going, okay, guys, we're going to come up with some really appealing, convection here. We're going to really go, the board meetings all getting together. How about a fish? Good one. How about a raw egg? Good one.
Or, for a kid, yeah, especially like fish. We want to shape it in this candy into fish because kids can't help gobbling down fish. But then the other one is bears.
Bears.
Let's make a gummy bear.
I got one.
Everyone loves eating a bear.
How about a big human poop? They're like, oh, you're psycho. Knock it off.
Well, I mean, the rabbits, of course, you bite the face off of them first. And
speaking of human poop, have you ever had an Idaho spud?
What?
Idaho spud.
What is that?
It's one of those obscure candies. They always have those cherry, the coconut cherry, this big like gob, or it's made by the people who make like Abba Zaba or one of those ancient candy companies, and they make an Idaho spud. It's got like nougat covered in chocolate, rolled in coconut, and it looks like
a potato or a turd, really.
Yeah, really. It's called an Idaho spud, but it looks like.
I thought you were talking about an actual potato, but this is named after a potato, and it's just a big turd chocolate.
Just a glob of stuff.
So it's one you could throw it in a swimming pool and empty it immediately, I assume.
Probably not as fast as a Baby Ruth, but of Caddyshack fame. But yeah, it's close. It's bad.
Wow. I've never ever heard of that. Ethan, are you familiar with it?
I've seen them. I think I've had on. I remember. Yeah, they're one of those really old candies, like the
really
packaging
old. Look
looks
up,
like it was
man.
made
My brother
in
bought me one as a joke. My brother was laughing the whole time. He's like, Doug, look at this. Idaho spud. It's like eating a poop.
That is the least appealing name for a candy bar that I could possibly think of.
It's an Idaho thing. It's just terrible. And there's like a cherry. Wow. It's called a cherry something. It's like a cherry gob or a cherry mass, and it's got like fermented cherries in it or something. You get them at Cracker Barrel. They have like the ancient candy section, Abba Zaba and Zag Nuts and Chico Sticks and all that. And then they have...
wait, what is an Abba Zaba?
You have it, Abba Zaba. It's got the yellow and black checkerboard on the wrapper. It's like a nougat taffy kind of thing, but it's hard. It's ancient. It's got some kind of peanut butter in it or something.
What's the difference between, you said nougat and what else? And nougat and
it's like a white thin bar of like a taffy. But
so taffy and nougat, right? So
yeah, but it's hard. Like when you bite it, you got to really work it.
Nougat and taffy.
You got to work it to get it off. That's what I mean. That's what makes it an Abba Zaba. It's like unique.
Wow.
Oh, yeah,
so you're eating these.
I'm just Googling.
You're sitting down there eating these strange candy bars that look like turds and have weird names. And
yeah,
you're living a weird life, man.
Well, Snickers isn't news. I'm just saying that's not news.
That's true.
Idaho
Ethan, you're probably too young. Do you remember a 7-Up bar?
7-Up
which
bar.
Is not based on the drink.
I do not.
Doug, do you know the 7-Up bar?
I know not of this magic you speak of.
Oh, it is amazing. So you take 7 pieces of different kinds of candy. One is sort of a gluey, gross, gummy thing, and one's a nougat, and one's coconut. And you pick 7 pieces of them and you glue them together into a candy bar. That was 7-Up.
So each bite's different.
Exactly. And it used to be the challenge of, can you which end do you want to take a bite off of? And you roll it in your hands
till it gets all warm and moves together. How do you eat the 7-Up bar?
Well, you're just supposed to eat it, but it's got a.
Yeah, but how do you make it? How do you make it?
You don't make it. I just Googled it.
No, you don't make it. It's
Wait,
made.
There's an actual 7-Up bar?
Yeah, it's like
yes, yeah.
It's like 7 different ingredients.
I think you can still buy it, but yeah, yes, exactly. Ethan grasps it.
Basically,
Doug,
each bite
who's still stuck on his Idaho spud, does not grasp it.
The moment you see the picture, you get it. You just search 7-Up bar.
Gross.
Oh, you saw it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
I'll look it up.
What is it?
Now
Jelly, coconut, nougat.
Asbestos.
that gross crispy peanut butter crap that's in a bunch of bars. You know, the stuff that shatters in your mouth.
Chicken
Oh,
stick,
like
like
the
the chicken
Butterfinger
stick
Chico stick.
I love
Chico
Chico
stick.
sticks.
Butterfinger.
Fiberglass shard.
I love a Butterfinger.
I got mint, nougat, butterscotch, fudge, coconut, buttercream, and caramel.
There you go. Okay.
I'm
Now,
the
Mike,
researcher.
as a religious low carb man, what was the last piece of candy you ate and when?
Oh boy, that's a good question.
Full-blown
Last
guilty
piece of-
pleasure, like you snuck one in.
Last piece of candy probably would have been a couple years ago when Bridget bought popcorn and the Junior Mints for a movie, and then she shook the box at me, and I'm like, "All right, give me some of the," because I love the Junior
you
Mint.
ate one, and that was your 3-year privilege.
I probably had 4, you know, and that was a couple years ago. That was maybe.
You're like
maybe
a
it was
monk.
during.
You're like a monk with his vow of silence. I love how religious you are about it. I love how squanderously cheating I am at my low carb.
Are you attempting low carb? What you're eating like Idaho Spuds by the handful?
I'm low carb all day. And then if they bring in one of those like those 2-pound Butterfingers the size of your arm, I'll just like eat the whole log in one sitting.
First of all, who is they, and what is the Butterfinger the size of an? Do they make
like
giant
the beloved Miss
Butterfingers?
Tenaple will go to Costco or whatever and just get a bunch of candy
Okay.
and just purely to tempt me because she wants to break me of my low carb all the time. She's a woman, born of Eve. And so she just goes, "Oh, you're low carb, huh? Well, look what I got. I got a giant 8-pound Butterfinger. You know, they make like giant things of everything now because America's so morbidly obese and just like morbidly like diabetic. Sorry. I like how your wife is thin, the thin one, and she's the one that's diabetic.
Yeah,
I love that.
She's got the real diabetes, though, not the kind that you. Or
it's not adult onset.
Yeah, like she's got it.
But it's like you're huge and you're not diabetic, and then she's skinny and she's diabetic. That's the universe.
Sure, I will be one day. It's like
one day we'll work on her.
Guys, this is our Easter episode. Okay,
so
are we going to talk about Easter?
I just looked in the Easter egg, an ancient symbol of new life and rebirth in Christianity associated with crucifixion and resurrection. The Easter egg originated in the early Christian community of Mesopotamia. They would stain eggs red in memory of the blood of Christ shed at his crucifixion.
What?
That's where Easter egg dyeing came from.
The Mesopotamians?
Yeah, the Mesopotatoes.
Dyed them red?
They dye them red, so just blood eggs. And they're like, yeah, new life, blood. That is kind of gross.
That was their version. The Mesopotatoes, that was their version of the Idaho Spud. Yes,
that's exactly right. It's the same shape. It is the same shape. Test it. Okay, back to Easter. What do you guys dig about Easter? This is the greatest day in the Christian world. And did you guys do the streaming Good Friday service Friday? When Jesus goes in the grave?
Yes. Yep.
I did not.
It's awesome. I was telling a non-Christian friend, like, look, even if you're not in on any of this, the theater of Good Friday is good on its own. It's so good. Yeah. The fact that the world has died, like hope has died. It is buried literally in the ground, all hope and darkness. And the readings that come are so dolorous, as they used to say in the Latin. It's just tears and weeping and darkness.
Oh, I was crying hard during our streaming Good Friday service. They turned the lights out when he went in the ground, kind of acknowledging that. And then we had communion, and I just completely fell apart. The song, How Deep the Father's Love for Us.
Oh my God. That one, that's like a 5 handkerchief.
Put me in a knot.
Yes. Agreed. Ethan, did you do a Good Friday?
My Good Friday was, my wife was at work and I was with the children.
Oh, you foul.
I know. I've never done anything on Good Friday. I never even realized that was a thing.
What?
To do things on Friday. I always thought it was just a big Sunday. I feel like I'm out of the loop on all this stuff. You guys are talking about it like it's obvious.
How can this be new to you? You make fun of like all these Christian worship songs on Babylon Bee. That's all you do.
You're
and
so
then
bitter
you
about
act like
that.
you know nothing of Christian. You're like, Good Friday service? What's that?
I've never been. I don't think I've ever been to a Good Friday service.
Wow, I had
That's
no idea.
psycho.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I became a Christian while I was going to a Catholic church, and oh man, the theater there so good.
What do you mean theater?
A giant cross,
Like they put on a play.
No, I'm just saying that the whole experience of it.
Yeah, Catholics know iconography and ritual.
Yes.
They lay it on.
And so the ritual was a giant bigger than full size cross sitting on the altar, and every other thing emptied of it, because there can be no signs of, the Christ anywhere. So it's this empty thing. And there's a red cloth laced across this giant cross. And, you come up and you go to a foot washing station. And you wash the feet of the person either, in front and then behind you, and you get your feet washed, and it's all done in total silence, and there's only candles. And then you have a very haunting hymn, and you leave in complete silence out of the church as everyone.
It's a death dirge.
Oh, it's just death. It's so good.
So that's okay. So that's one of the things that I love about the Christian Easter services is the acknowledgement of suffering and that everything is freaking wrong. Like other worldviews, they have to soft sell suffering. And we have this Christ, this being this God who came to earth and suffered on our behalf and with us. We have a suffering God. That's like a very strong apologetic to me. That
to me, it almost immediately gets to the heart of the major objection, and the one that almost every philosopher raises is the problem of evil.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't believe if this universe has this much evil, then why, it can't be. There can't be a God. He doesn't care about us. Or it's like, what? He sent his son and then tortured him to death in the place of us who deserved that punishment. How can you say that we aren't acknowledging that? That's kind of the central message, isn't it?
It's the argument from it makes sense. It makes sense, dummy.
Yeah, you're bad. He sent a rescue, and that rescue is this beautiful thing, and we're in the middle of it, obviously.
Yeah, if there's any, and that's the thing is, so right around Good Friday, I listened to the Bridget Fetisy podcast, whom Ethan is hard for. He's always on her show. He's on Bridget's show.
Once, and she was on my show once.
They love each other, and she had Michael Shermer on,
jealous.
the big atheist. The big atheist guy.
Yes, I've heard him. I've been completely unconvinced by his arguments.
Completely unconvinced, but I like his personality. It's kind of like the Hitchens thing. I kind of like the guy. He's cute. He's cute. He's a cute dingbat.
I love damning with faint praise. He's adorable.
He's adorable.
Doug's hard for him.
It's the Norm Macdonald. He's a nice guy. Yeah, but he was talking about why he doubts all these things, like just because people have been wrong about everything. Of course, he doesn't doubt evolution. He doesn't doubt global climate change. He just kind of threw those in with zero skepticism whatsoever.
Sure.
But she had him on, and it just, and I was just, I'm always, atheism is always an interesting worldview to me. It's very compelling. It's very much in my nature and in my lower self to consider it all the time. It's like, what if all this is wrong? What if I'm wrong?
I mean, that's all of our default positions, right? I mean, you and I, Doug, have talked about it all the time. I'm an atheist, except for the fact that I can't accept atheism.
Except for the fact that I can't accept any of it because none of it makes sense.
Ethan, are you that way? Are you?
Yeah, I do.
Ethan's way closer to atheism than either of us are.
I do feel like I have that mentality. Like when they talk, I'm like completely get it. Like and the element that holds me on my Christianity is, I mean, it's kind of like this. Like a lot of this stuff around Easter, all the resurrection and the whole gospel message. I mean, I just choose to believe it. I'm not like, I've seen all the evidence and I have this solid understanding of it and I get why. I just like, I've come to this place where I just choose to believe it. And I know that's not satisfying.
It's a perfect story. Going down even to Good Friday is the way that it has so much more of a robust grasp of evil and suffering than what non-belief
and sin
offers.
And forgiveness.
Yeah, because it doesn't make sense why Michael Shermer is sitting there going like, I'm a humanist and we believe in women's rights. I'm like, well, why? Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm a better atheist than you. Who cares? Who gives a F? And he's sitting there like preaching and like we have to grasp these things. I'm like, well, why? Mm-hmm. Like I'm a real skeptic. And he was talking about being a skeptic. I'm like, man, I'd love to have a conversation with this guy. I think I want to invite him on my show actually. Cause I'm like, I'm a way better skeptic than you. And that if I could, I mean, I'd rather eat you than talk to you. I mean, why not?
You like, well, really because like him. Like
I really like him. I like him enough to eat him. I see him with maybe some A1 sauce, some spicy chili, some lime and chili.
Some Michael Sherbet.
Yeah, Michael Sherbet. Like why?
It's like those old Bugs Bunnies where suddenly the guy turns into a hot dog.
Yeah. When they're on the island with the castaways and they look at each other like he's a chicken.
Like a big chicken, yeah, because then they look like a naked old guy.
That's how I see you, Michael. Probably you too, Bridget, although Ethan more so.
Oh boy.
Bridget is very nice, but she's kind of like your crazy aunt that you're like, could you put some more clothes on, aunt? You're getting a little,
She's cute. She's really cute. She's just cute.
I don't know this person. Tell me of this
she's
person.
From Twitter. She's a person she's so good at Twitter, she made herself a name on Twitter. And
she used to write for Playboy.
Her name's Bridget. Her last name it's not a real last name, but it's Phetasy, Phetasy.
PH what?
Phetasy.
Oh, there it is.
Phetasy, yeah.
What does that mean? Is that
she used
Latin
to write for like Playboy and stuff, and she's a
she used to write for Playboy back when after they stopped showing nudes, so no one read it anymore.
Oh, okay. And she does she do a Christian podcast?
No, she's not a Christian. She just her main thing is she's kind of a person who's come from, she calls, that she says that she came from the left. That was her kind of her factory default settings. And she kind of got disillusioned by all the woke leftism. And then she got so dogpiled by the left that she's more of a out there kind of in no man's land.
She's independent, but it keeps pushing her farther and farther to the right because they're going so psycho. That she's just like, look, I'm not psycho.
So she'll like talk to anybody. She goes on Glenn Beck's show. She goes and talk to any right wing, anybody. And she's kind of just become somebody that the left can't stand, even though she's pretty much, she's kind of like in the Joe Rogan world. Her politics are pretty much left wing, but she's despised by the left because she's not woke enough.
Gotcha. All right.
Okay, so anyways, Good Friday.
Well, should we go to Easter, and what does Easter mean to you? I think that's what we do.
Well, go ahead. You start with your Easter observances. What the heck happened, and what's the big deal?
I think this, the time that we're in, this lockdown of Christians not being able to celebrate it will be looked back on as one of the greatest tragedies of the church. And our governors can all hand wave away like, look, we all have to make sacrifices during that time. And I'm not even saying I don't understand that. I disagree with it, but I understand it. So I'm not in active, disagreement with it. I am. I disagree with it.
Okay.
Anyway, the point being, this celebration of Christians at Easter is the bursting forth of life. It is the, all is darkness. All is darkness. Everything is lost. The disciples, the apostles, everyone hidden in houses. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
Weeping with no ability to move.
They're going to save your guy that we thought was going to blow away the Rome. He was going
to do it. He was going to make everything good for us.
And we lost.
We lost. There's utter utter hopelessness. It's not just hopelessness of, man, our team lost, our company collapsed, I have no money, how am I going to feed my family? It is existential to the point of, and I've felt it before when I once I had a crisis of faith, and I'm like, I have nothing if I don't have this.
Yeah.
And every waking moment is misery of going, if there's no hope, then there really is no hope. I can't wake up tomorrow and eat an Idaho Spud and feel happy about it. I'm doomed.
I would partially be placated by eating Michael Shermer, but even that would not satisfy for long.
And then in light of that, like literally the world blooms. He appears. He is alive. He has defeated death. Death is no longer there.
The big taco.
You can't even, we listened, Bridget and I listened last night to the full Messiah handle, which is amazing. He wrote in 24 days, he wrote the Messiah. And it is just an outpouring of just, it goes from basically Good Friday and Isaiah and all of that.
You're a classical music snob. How did he do that? How did he get a handle on that great task? But it's sort of debated. He was able to do that, but he did it with, in this one, in the Messiah, he did it with almost no mistakes he's writing with a quill pen onto fool's cap or whatever. And, page after page, it was 245 pages.
Wow.
Which he wrote. And then at the end of it, he wrote, to the glory of God, as a lot of them did. But he made almost no mistakes. But anyway, the point being,
that's crazy.
Like, this is the Hallelujah chorus, as gorgeous as it is like 1/1,000,000th of the joy that we actually feel on Easter, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Well, we're pointed to things above, way above. Like, these are the laws of the universe that are being reset, and the idea of grace and and beauty and longing. It's like it opened up the ceiling to the world. And this, what's weird is you think like creation is one event. Okay, that's one event. But then it was like blown away by the birth of Christ, this other event, right? Blows it away because God comes in the form of a baby.
Yeah.
And then comes his sacrifice. That's another event that this God pays for us. He dies and he pays for our death. Fine. That alone is a huge event. Then he resurrects, and that's where hope comes from, which is that death is not the end of the story, and mere forgiveness of your sin isn't enough, but we all will be resurrected, that he has absolute mastery over his own universe. He demonstrates it. It was not emotionally easy, but physically it was easy for him to resurrect. It didn't take effort. He didn't sit there and sweat and white knuckle, have to do all this force to beat death. This is the author of life and the author of the universe. So for him, the hardest part was I'm always taken back to Good Friday, because to me, Easter's the great celebration, but Good Friday is just weird. That the actual death event is psycho and brutal. It's a Christian horror story. If you ever watch Passion of Christ, it's a monster movie.
It is horrifying from start to finish. And then the moment, Eloi, Eloi, lema sabachthani.
Yeah.
My God.
Why have you forsaken me?
That is, wow.
They stripped him naked. So my pastor talked about this a couple of years ago at Easter. He said, shame was part of his payment. That is that he takes our shame. He was stripped naked. So his wang was hanging out in front of everybody. The most degrading thing you can do to any man, an innocent man, is to crucify him on this shameful cross. My thing that struck me this year, though, was when he's praying in the garden and he's, laying on the ground. God, if this cup can be taken from me, that famous quote where I don't know if I've ever seen that kind of distance between he and God. He's talking to the Father, and the Son and the Father are one God. We don't believe in multiple gods, but we believe in one God with three persons. And he's talking to this other part of himself, this other person, complete person. And he's saying, if this cup can be taken from me, this is Matthew 26:39. May this cup be taken from me, yet not as I will, but as you will. It's I and you. The two persons are fully present. And the thing that struck me is a little detail where he goes back to this is before that event. He's going to the disciples. And he says, this is in verse 30, back in verse 38, 26:38 in Matthew. My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me.
Oh, yeah.
That is the God of the universe finding comfort in his friends. I think that is fascinating, that we have a God who, I know theology-wise, we talk a lot about, he doesn't need us, and this is all just, there's no us, there's only his glory or whatever. No, this looks like he's really relying on them. And then in verse 40, he comes back. He goes, then he returned to his disciples and found them sleeping. Couldn't you men keep watch with me for 1 hour? Verse 41, he says to Peter, watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So then he goes away and prays. He comes back, verse 43, and he finds them sleeping again. It's weird to me because God, he wants to pray with us. That's amazing to me. That really struck me. It's God wants me to pray to him. He wants to be with me. That's mind-blowing. It's intimate.
Also, it struck me last night as we went through the Good Friday stuff is his fear as well.
Yeah.
Like, he's obviously fully committed to doing this, and he does this. And then, but the fear leading up to it, like praying and, sweat like drops of blood.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this, and I'm committed. And that struck us last night. Like, oh my God, this is so poignant. The God of the universe literally sweating blood because he has to go through something that we deserve. And he does not at all. And that is why Easter morning means so much to Christians. It's like, man, if I had to stand before God of the universe by myself, I am torched from like day one and just like, get rid of this. This is a piece of garbage.
Yeah, you don't add up. Yeah, and imagine that. So that price paid with this sweating blood, how the anguish that he felt. It also shows there's something interesting about the rules of the universe, which C.S. Lewis talks a little bit about in Narnia when Aslan is put on the stone table, and they talk about an ancient law that is deeper than all the other laws written in blood on that stone. That God could have. You ask yourself, why didn't God just dismiss it all and say, "I forgive your sins. You don't have to pay. You don't have to pay with a God-Son sacrifice. I'll just dismiss it all. Snap, all done."
Yeah.
That he observes these things and he had to go through it. Had to. Those ancient laws, those laws that are probably what weaves God together. He had to go through that, couldn't dismiss it philosophically. It ends up being an incredible defense of reality, of all of us. You go, well, why can't he just snap his fingers and make the world magically okay? Or why is this thing that we go through here in life, why do we have to go through it? What's interesting to me is like, we have to go through the sequence of events, even when God knows the future and has seen it all. This is important. This is not something that he can just dismiss away. There's rules and laws that even he subjects himself to.
And we feel it all the time. And that's what everyone objects to. That is why the objection to Christianity based on the problem of evil actually works the opposite way. Mm-hmm. You feel the weight of evil. You know that it is not right that that a child is killed, mm-hmm. that a person
you're
grows up. You're
rightly angry about it.
Yes. And so the fact that that exists at all is solved in the Christian equation. It is not solved yet, but it is written in the book, in the story of life. And so it's disingenuous to say that, like, okay, so like you say, God snaps his fingers and okay, now there's no more evil. I'm like, well, that just wipes the slate clean. That doesn't do anything. That is not the story. God takes sin incredibly seriously, and he expects us to take it seriously too, so that when sin exists, God weeps in a garden as well, and he drips blood and says, how do we solve this problem? And that's why we feel it as well, as something heavy in our hearts. Like, of course, otherwise it's meaningless. If it's just particles and a child dies, I go, who cares? I don't care. Yeah. Particles are gone.
That was, I don't know if it was David Hume. There was an atheistic philosopher that said, what kind of God, would allow a child, to die in his mother's arms? And I think it was J.P. Moreland who said, that's a terrible thought, of course, that God has to stand by while suffering happens, because the only thing worse than that would be if it served no purpose and it was absolutely meaningless, that no one was watching. Talk about despair.
Yeah.
What if they were suffering for no meaning at all, and there was nothing to learn from it, and no good would ever come after it? That creates despair in a man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think it might have been, maybe I'm wrong. It might have been Bertrand Russell.
Yeah.
Who said it.
I think, I believe. Yep.
But and then someone, the response is, what do you say to the child? And so you say, oh, you're a bunch of particles, and sorry that you're feeling pain that is almost beyond the limit of human comprehension, and you will never grow up and never see your parents. Goodbye. So long,
and your
particles.
Sadness is an illusion. It's not even real. It's just a tantrum that has no true, about as much meaning as a rock breaking in half over another rock.
Right.
That's my beef with atheists. I don't think they're good enough atheists. I'm better at being an atheist. That's why I'm a Christian. I don't think you understand the repercussions of your worldview.
So we have what? We have 12 minutes left by my clock. So what will you guys do for Easter? Can we we'll turn it towards something more joyful. Ethan, what is your Easter celebration?
Well, I know my wife bought a bunch of Easter stuff. I have a ham. Yeah. I have a ham to cook and some corn and stuff. But I don't know as far
ham
as
and corn.
As far as what we're going to actually do on Sunday morning. I mean, it's been rough. I mean, with the little kids, Calvin's at like his wildest phase of toddlerhood right now. So at least try to do like read some scripture or something and do some prayer together. Do what we can. Spend time as a family. And
you don't have an online church that you
I have. We have it. We may try. We tried last week and it was kind of a mess. I mean, our church is very small, and it's basically, it kind of ends up being like it wasn't even our pastor on the last video. It was one of the other guys, but he speaks in like a real monotone voice, and he's just kind of looks like a hostage video. Like he's just staring into YouTube and he's just talking. And
I'm going to send
no
this
way
to that guy.
I'm going to get my kids. I'm going to get my kids to sit through this. Like they wouldn't be able to sit through it if it was at the church live, like I'm trying to do, and they're in their living room where they're used to, jumping on the couch and going crazy. And
2 words, duct tape.
Duct tape him down. Yeah.
Duct tape him down to the floor. He'll think it's fun for about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Then you hit the stream.
So, I mean, you got to feel bad for someone who, now normally is this guy a good communicator? I don't want to go into too much detail because we're talking about an actual
awesome.
person.
I mean, he's actually, when he leads worship, I love him because he does older songs and he's really, he's not into all like the hip stuff. He's also really old school and stuff. He gives great messages. But yeah, YouTube's not his medium.
So yeah, it's unfair that the entire world, through a lockdown has been, just go online as though that's a thing that, oh, okay, thanks. I'll do that.
I love how it's exposing too. Like you see like, all these celebrities now doing their late shows. They're all just Skyping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a whole community.
No live audience to laugh.
Yeah. There's a whole community of people that have been doing that. And they're way better at it than these guys. And I just kind of exposed how like uninteresting some of the celebrities are once you take all the frills away.
Just the crowd can tell you when to laugh at Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
PewDiePie's better.
Anyway, side note.
Doug, your
streaming
Easter
church.
morning?
Streaming church.
Streaming church, sure.
And our church puts on a great show. So I really like the stream. These are like Nashville informed people. So like they know how to do the worship with the words on the screen, top musicians.
Multimedia is in their bloodstream.
Drama camera, multiple cameras. And the pastors are just a hammer. Just they know how to, set up the sermon and really turn it at the end and really, give you stuff to think about. And they're there like to aid worship. So like it helps me worship. And in biblical, very, very biblical guys. So we will stream together. We will have some kind of a meal. I don't know what the beloved Mr. Naple has planned, but, it'll be a ham or steak or something hearty. And probably an Easter egg hunt with the adult kids even. The grown-up kids. We will
plastic Easter eggs.
Plastic Easter eggs, yeah.
Sometimes with 6 jelly beans inside.
Sometimes the beloved Mr. Naple puts money.
Yeah,
dude. Put a $5 bill in some of those Easter eggs and watch the kids go like,
oh, nice.
Yeah, one of them has a 20 in it, and yeah.
Some year put a hundo in it, put a full $100 bill in it.
Hundo in there. Or like a day where we
just take it back from them. But I mean,
and then have another one
where they can have like free screens day or something where they can play all the games they want for a day. They'd go crazy for that egg.
Have another egg that has like a sheep testicle in it or something, like, have both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, right, like fill it up with hot mustard or something.
Yeah, the gross jelly bean challenge. This one is like chicken urine, and this one is lemon. Yeah.
Oh man, I got a box of those. There was a box of those Jelly Bellies with the mystery, the challenge
I don't like
jelly
that
beans
thing.
in them.
Yeah,
I tried eating 2. I had to scrub my mouth out with soap. It was so bad.
I'm not a fan
was like
of
vomit
that thing.
or something, and I couldn't get the taste out of my. I'm like, spit it out. So and it was like all stuck in my mouth. Like I had to. It was rank.
That is
Dirty
nasty.
Dishwater was another one. It was so nasty.
Oh, the nasty Jelly Bellies, yeah.
Yeah,
that like Russian roulette game. It could be good or it could be bad. Yeah. I don't like that.
Yeah, it's really mean. They made the flavors a little too good, a little too gross. They should have really pulled it back and made them remotely edible.
Right. Yeah. Dish soap or whatever.
Mike, what about you? What's your Sunday morning?
So I don't think it's in violation of any laws. We are having people over. We're doing all the things and watching our church streaming. And it is poignant. Last week, there's a dear brother of mine who I said, come over for church. And he mistakenly thought, which, no fault of anyone. He thought it was at church, like that we could go into the building and just he and I were like breaking the rules or whatever, or, Bridget and I. And he called me from there and said, where are you? And I said, no, I'm in my apartment. We're streaming the church. And he came over and he arrived in our apartment and he just wept. He's just like, I can't take this anymore. This is it's so bad. It's so isolating, and he's got a big family and everything. But anyway, it was just very poignant. Like, I understand we're all just about at the breaking point, and something stupid like that, like misunderstanding that, it kind of broke his heart. And, so anyway, he, I think, and a couple other people are going to come over, but we're going to be under the limit that is the diktat by our our new overlords
Our
is going to be
overseers. Yeah.
our overseers, the ones who are only concerned about me and nothing else, are going to, stay within the boundaries, so as the Stasi does not come for us. But
the hive state.
Yes.
Have you guys been hearing about some of these churches that have been getting giant fines for gathering?
Yeah, I have. There's pre-issues of like Easter is canceled.
Yeah.
For a bunch of churches, and if you assemble even in a parking lot,
yeah,
we're going to ticket you. And
that just makes me want to assemble so bad. The angry rebel in me. I'm like, oh, say I can't? Okay. Well, now I'm gonna. I wasn't going to, but now I need to.
I'm 100% that way. Yeah.
There's a church it's a 253 capacity church. 16 people met. They're all spread apart, far from each other. They had their service. They got a giant fine. It's like, go to Home Depot. Go to the grocery store. Like,
yeah, go to Whole Foods.
You just bump.
There's 4,000 people
like crazy. Yeah, Home Depot's got lines. It's like, they're not getting fines. It's just so weird. They can't take any. They can't take any precautions. Like, hey, we'll all be spread out. It's a giant room. It's insane.
It is insane. Have you seen the little? It's I'm not a meme guy, but I thought it was funny. The
whatever.
It was.
Didn't you create Rebecca Black? I heard that somewhere.
Oh, that's just not a meme. That's a great song. It's the end of, or the Lord of the Rings, where the first time that he has the ring, and it's like government power, like throw it in the fire, and then the government. No. I mean, that's obviously they're never going to relinquish their power, right?
Yeah. I'm scared.
I mean, I'm actually scared. Our governor said you're just locked down until I say you are not locked down.
Yeah, we
will never be the same. We will never go back to what it was.
No, they will, of course. They're all licking their chops going, this is great. I get to tell every single American that they don't get to move from their house. I mean, obviously we all understand what's happening here, but this is getting bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, they just declared here where I live in the county, in San Bernardino County, that you have to have one of those masks on when you leave your house.
Oh man!
Or there's like it's like a 90 days in jail or $1,000 fine, something like. There's like, it's crazy. It's just, and it's like they can just throw this stuff out there and just rule this stuff. I thought there was more of a process for all these when new laws get created.
I'm not sympathetic to the laws. Because these are the same people that are all like, legalize pot or legalized, crack. If you want to take it and put it in your body, go ahead. So what suddenly, but you have to wear a mask before you can go outside?
You're killing everybody.
It'll all be rescinded when it's time for, when is like Beta Breakers, when the naked guys run with the, with the rings in their penises and stuff and chains attached to their penises. So that will not be canceled. I guarantee that will not be canceled.
It's called the Oscars, Mike. I don't know what to do. It's because I'm torn because I don't believe in the law, right? The idea that the law is going to start dictating these things without the consent of the people. But at the same time, we're under lockdown. And I think there are people in the state who would be whistleblowers if it was as fake as I think it is, like a light flu. Like, I think they know something we don't about how few of us have actually gotten coronavirus and what would happen if we went back out in public and just let it circulate again. I think they're really cutting off something serious. I would agree with you,
except for the fact that they've been wrong about every single thing that has happened so far. So
totally agree.
That's if it were the case, then I would be a little more sympathetic to the, to the dictatorial stuff that's happening now.
But they can't hold the truth down for long. So will they not pay a heavy price if it really wasn't that big of a deal?
Well, my theory is they can't not. So they're doubling down on it to say, like, no, we saved you. We saved you.
Right.
We tucked you in your little beds and patted your little heads, and we locked you we jailed all humans and took away all your rights, and we saved you. So the next time you need it, here we are. We're here to help. And I could be wrong, but the fact that all of the data they put forward is 100% wrong.
That's true.
No, 100's off by a factor of 1,000. They're off by factors of thousands. And that was the impetus for doing it. So that's what makes me go, that's what makes me heavily dubious.
Sure. Well, we're going to find out over time. I mean, the truth is a sticky thing. And a virus is actually a physical object. It's not, a physical thing. It's not a philosophy. They can't spin it. I mean, if quarantine's lifted and we all go back out to work again and there's a giant, massive plague, there you go. Or a second wave in the fall. Or if this is ongoing, they say like 2 years, 2 years before they get a vaccine.
I mean, yes, but again, they say a lot of things. And I'm not saying that, we've all become epidemiologists over this thing, but there's a huge amount of stuff at stake. And I don't think that that's wrong for us all to become epidemiologists because
that's Peter Hitchens. Peter Hitchens said he goes, this isn't about life versus economics. He goes, this is about life versus life.
Lives versus lives. Yeah.
Lives are it's going to cost you lives shutting down the economy like this. And it will cost you lives, if the virus is let out and just, wreck the population. So take your pick.
Well, it's a philosophical issue. Like we don't have, an epidemiology, right?
Yeah.
So why don't, if that's what we want to do, then in times of whatever, like when there's economic struggles, then we have an economist and we have an economagarchy and he runs us. And then when we have diseases, we have an epidemiologicagarchy and he runs everything. But that's never been the way that it has ever been. And so there are competing interests. And I just find it fascinating that we went to bed one night and woke up the next morning and were ruled by epidemiologists. That may be good. That may be bad. I don't know. We'll find out.
Ethan didn't vote in California to have to wear a mask when he leaves his house. No, I don't remember that vote.
Nope.
Yeah. And I mean, there's maybe compelling reasons. There may not, but the fact
but we should just laugh if we say that we're a democracy if there's no vote. I mean, at least we have to admit like we're not a democracy.
Right.
Yeah. No, I mean, if every single right, like we're jailed in home, the governor of Michigan said, you can't go if you have another residence. You can't go to that residence. That's like if you own a cabin.
Yeah.
So you are unable to move from one residence to another. You can't go to a friend's house. Show me your papers, please. And that happened just like that. And I mean, does anyone think that that's a good idea without any discussion of it? That it happened? Does anyone think that's good? I don't know.
I'm glad I'm armed. Not that it would help, but they can't. I don't know. I don't know how bad it can get with what they can do with if this thing comes out to be not a big deal, or if there's some level of they didn't do their due diligence or something, and they did this to go from 3% unemployment to like what will probably be 25% unemployment, and just demolish an economy and the body count. They're going to get a body count laid on them either way. It's going to either be the coronavirus body count, or it's going to be the body count from the economic disaster. It's going to go right on all the state. So,
yep. How many suicides this year? They're outpacing coronavirus. I'll tell you that. That's the punchline to that for sure.
So they're making the news,
and
you're not hearing about them in the news.
No. And there's a lot to criticize, and I just get sick of the thing in the middle of it. Just my fellow American, when I raise just a slightly sharp tongue about like, are we doing the right thing? And people go, are you killing old people? Like,
for
we're
money,
discussing this, right?
For money.
It's not the economy being shut down means thousands of dead people. You understand that. Yeah. So why are your dead that you prefer, versus mine, which I prefer, if that's even it's a stupid thing to even, because I don't make policy, so it doesn't matter. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. My malignant melanoma has a 65% death rate if it's left in the body. 65% death. The best way to fight it is through early treatment and early detection. And my treatment got delayed by at least 4 weeks, probably 6 weeks, just for them to test it because of the coronavirus. So personally, I've been put at risk by a light flu I would be glad to weather compared to the delay, which could be one of the most aggressive forms of cancer. It could just be spreading all over my body.
However, you don't have any more reports on that, right?
Nope.
You're just waiting.
June 2nd, we find out they remove it and conduct all the tests. But again, why June 2nd? It's not going to be safe June 2nd either. Frickin' open me up now. June 2nd's not going to be better.
Yeah.
It's just they were just told by the state, and they're all whatever you say. They say we have to put these delays in for people who are, if it's not, a life issue, we have to delay this according to the state. And the doctor doesn't want to get on the wrong side of the state. Again, didn't vote, just complied.
Is there any way you could get like one of those pineapple cores and just kind of do it on your own skin?
Probably.
And stitch her up?
That probably would be the most effective. Yeah, get in there. Just give me a couple shots, shot of whiskey, a little ether.
Shots of whiskey. Yes, I'll do that.
Shots of whiskey and then a smack, just put ether, just knock me out.
Sure.
My dad used to do that. He developed these giant calcium deposits in the nubs of his fingers. He had these giant nubby fingers. So he just like rub some ice on there and sit at the kitchen table and just carve them out with a knife. Do his own hand surgery there at home, and then he'd grow back and he'd just do it again.
That's how Dad did it.
God, see, now we're back to the beginning of this show.
Full circle.
What?
I don't think old
did you
people...
see? Were they like pieces of little like chicken bone ribs that came out?
No,
what was it?
He told me that he did it. I didn't watch him.
It was like skin callus. It's like a thick callus or something.
Wow.
I don't think the previous generations had any pain sensors in their body. And then today's kids, I think it's like up 100. Like everyone has like raw nerves, just everything's like a broken tooth, all your body, like one little discomfort. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
Well, it's rare to encounter that kind of pain. I mean, he worked in carpentry and all that kind of stuff. You're constantly smashing your thumbs. And, I remember we were on a camping trip one time and he chopped his hand with the axe on accident. His hand was bleeding everywhere. And the same trip, my brother fell down and impaled his hand on a rusty nail. And my dad just duct taped newspaper around it for the rest of the trip. And came home. My mom did it. This is when they were recently divorced at this time. I was like, you didn't immediately bring him back home. Anyway,
my uncle who died just this past year, when he was in his 30s, he was a carpenter, and his skill saw, the safety blade, the safety cover didn't retract, and he set the blade down while it was still spinning, and it climbed up his pant leg and like opened up his femoral artery from the bottom of his foot. And so he just like wrapped crap around it and like drove himself to the hospital and passed out like in the parking lot of the hospital.
Blood loss. Just gushing.
He was a tough old dude. Yeah. And he just like, it's, what are you going to do?
See, I love those people so much more. I just love them more. They're precious to me.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys.
This is it.
But unbelievably, this was our Easter.
This was our Easter episode.
Happy Easter.
Oh, happy Easter. Man, it's going to be so glorious. I look forward to it.
Oh, yeah. He's been working on this is the earth that he just threw out in 7 days.
Yeah.
He's gone to prepare a place for us that just it's full of wonder. And the end of it, we will never know.
I will just say this final thing. When I first became a Christian and I was working with a counselor who was not explicitly Christian, but was, and said, "Oh, well, what do you like about this?" And said, "Why don't you read me my favorite passage or your favorite passage?" Mm-hmm. And it is when the women discover the body, or discover that he's there in the garden. And to this very day, I cannot read John, like, do not hold on to me. I have to go to my Father's house, without tears just pouring down my face. It is the most beautiful thing in the world. They thought he was dead, like their teacher, the person they loved more than anyone was in the grave, defeated, ashamed, mocked. His wang was hanging out. They saw him get stabbed. They saw everything. They saw him say, my God, why have you forsaken me? And then he appears and he hugs her.
Yeah. Got ya.
Yeah.
I'm in tears right now.
Got ya.
I think what amazes me about the whole story, as much as I don't grasp so much of it, is that it stands in defiance of human nature at every plot point. It's just not the story a human would write.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. It's as if, I mean, that's one thing that's so compelling about it, is it's this character, Christ. He seems to understand the truth of things at such a much deeper level than we even possibly can. He knows how this works.
If our God wasn't the definition of sanity, I'd say he was mad.
Yeah.
Because just nobody would write that. Nobody would make that up.
Okay, well, this has been another audio mullet. We just want to say happy Easter. He is risen.
He is risen indeed.
Audio mullet, a mullet of audio smashing you in the face. Audio mullet, short and front, long and back. It's a fact. It's the audio mullet.
Yes. He has risen indeed, my good boy.
Indeed, my good man. Planter's nut monocle on my eye.
I mean, he has risen indeed.
Oh, they rolled away the stone like rolling stones. Brown sugar.
The Rolling Stones, I believe, were a rock and roll and blues band back when I was but a boy.
Yes. Keith Richards, the horse-faced one.
Oh, yes. I knew his mother. She was a very sweet woman, very lovely woman.
We would garden together.
Oh, yes, we'd go to the garden club together. She was rather fetching in her day. But Keith Richards, the boy,
he was
so much.
Quite
little
a
bit
dish.
of a strange person. I understood he had earrings or something. I don't know what that is
earrings.
about.
And they weren't on his face, if you know what I mean.
No. They were on other parts of his body. I'm led to understand, at least. It's hard to
He had so many earrings, they weren't even on parts of his body.
To call him an earring would be, something of a mistake.
A misnomer.
Call him a scrotering. I was
Scrotering. What a wicked divot that man was.
Bit of a tosser. Bit of a tosser, he.
Bit of a tosser. You sound like Woodhouse.
All right, that's enough.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
So long.
All right.
Wow.